What's the difference between consciousness, spirituality, and magic? In the spiritual community, you're going to hear terms such as consciousness. You're going to hear terms such as, magic or the occult and spirituality. So all of these things do go hand in hand, but let's kind of break them down individually. So consciousness is a state of being. Consciousness is your awareness. It's your awareness of deeper aspects of life. We have a lot of conscious teachers who teach deeper esoteric and metaphysical sciences. That's going to be your Bobby Hemmett, Brother Panic, the real Merkaba, even Brother Pilot, right? And conscious teachers come from different walks of belief systems. They're not all believing in the same necessarily thing. They come from different aspects, right, of reality. All of them share this one thing in common. They teach deeper sciences of the universe. So yes, there's a lot of spiritual teachers who are conscious, but then there also are people who walk this earth that may not necessarily be what they call spiritual or involved into super spiritual practices, but they too themselves consider themselves conscious. Magic is not based off of a spiritual or religious belief system. In fact, magic within itself does not care what you believe and what you practice. Now, what you believe and what you practice and how you view the world will base how you approach your magical journey and how you approach your practices. But your belief system within itself does not matter. You have people of all spectrums. You have atheists that practice magic, just dealing with the science of it and just dealing with the psychological aspect of it and things of that nature and the mind part of it, and it still works for them. And then you have people on the other the opposite, the other extreme of the spectrum, who is very spiritual and very abstract by nature and believe that everything is all on the account of the divine and all on the account of these spirits and things like that. I personally fit somewhere in the middle because I don't necessarily believe that magic is supernatural in the way that I teach that it is your birthright. It's inherent energies that are just inherent in our universe, as true as gravity. Therefore, you don't have to go based off faith in that sense. You have to have faith in your power and your abilities and your work, because your faith is connected to your belief. So you have to have belief and some understanding in how it works. But you don't have to have blind faith like they would teach you in religion. Just because science can't 100% understand and explain these phenomena doesn't make them any less natural. There was a while when science couldn't explain a lot of things, but they're getting close. And science is actually molding more into the esoteric stream of things as time goes on. I truly believe that these are, like I said, energies that are inherent within this universe, just as true as the sun is out, just as true as the wind blows, just as true as gravity. Things that the ancients already knew. So just because it's not always fully understood does not mean that you have to fill it in with blind faith. It just means that it is a part of our world, it's a part of science that we cannot fully understand in that aspect, but we have enough understanding in it to be able to utilize it and utilize it effectively. Spiritual encompasses a huge range of things. It is not only a life path, a life choice, but it's also a lifestyle, and there's a difference with that. It's also a belief system. It's also the way you perceive the world in your universe. And not everybody that considers themselves conscious or and people who necessarily practice magic considers themselves as a super spiritual person, right? However, there is elements of consciousness and magic within spirituality. So if you are practicing spirituality, then 9 times out of 10, you are practicing some aspects or forms of magic, which I personally believe everybody practices magic all day long. I believe that is just a human inherent trait. But in the way that the mainstream looks at it, you are practicing, if you are spiritual, you are practicing some aspects of magic most likely, and you do probably consider yourself a conscious being because you are aware of these subtle energies. Therefore, consciousness deals with a state of awareness, a state of being, becoming and being aware of certain things that are deeper and meaning. Spirituality has to do with your belief systems and how create the world and how you view the world and you view yourself in the world. It has everything to do with how you perceive things and how you view things, and then you base your lifestyle and you create these spiritual practices around this belief system, with the base being that you do believe and you do have emphasis within the spiritual realm and the realm that is not physical. Magic is a system. It is a separate system, a separate science that you can utilize, a tool to conduct change in your reality. You do not have to consider yourself a super highly spiritual person to practice magic. Most magical people would say that they're conscious in to a degree, but I know even that word consciousness comes with a certain look and dogmatic ideology attached to it. But consciousness, as I'm describing it, its true definition being aware, becoming aware of these subtler, deeper truths of life, then I would say that if you practice magic, then you would most definitely be conscious. You would most definitely be aware of these things, but you don't necessarily have to say you're spiritual or be involved in specific spiritual practices. So I hope that kind of summed it up and answered some of your questions that you may have about these terminologies and these words and things like that. And if you guys have any other questions about other terms that we use in the spiritual community, please leave them in the comments and we'll talk about them.